Hi guys, this video will serve as your Essay 2 prompt. So right now I have the 924 module collapsed so you can kind of see everything that's going to be in this module. So we can start with the task list. Okay, so everything is here. Of course, all of your links are right here if you need them, but this is kind of an itemized way to view our modules assignments. Okay. So we'll review all of these materials in this video, and then you'll do some reading this week, and then you have a discussion board and a quiz. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so let's start with our prompt. Okay, so this unit will be on cultural expectations. Okay, so you will have a Humans of New York and Minor discussion board, a Raya and Takaki discussion board, a rough draft, and a final draft. Okay. So this video will talk about the prompt. We'll get into the outline, the rubric, the discussion boards, some sample essays, and I'll talk a little bit about the rough draft. Okay. So the background. This unit we will be looking at cultural expectations, traditions, and stereotypes. Horace Minor forces us to look at the Nasarima through an Americanized ethnocentric lens. The Humans of New York project asks us to look at refugee stories and challenge potential preconceived notions we may have about the intentions of refugees. Raya's It's Hard Enough Being Me pleads with readers to understand the many differences among Latinas and how she has experienced an identity crisis, struggling between her identity as a Mexican and an American. Last, Ronald Takaki's The Harmful Myths of Asian Superiority argues that the model minority image homogenizes Asian Americans and hides their differences, as well as exacerbates relations between them and African Americans. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit about each of our authors for this unit. So for our assignment, write an essay exploring cultural expectations and stereotypes. Incorporate evidence from at least 3 out of 4 of our sources this unit: Minor, Humans of New York, Raya, and Takaki. You may choose to focus your argument on one particular culture, African Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans, Middle Eastern Americans, etc., or on the danger or benefit of cultural expectations in general. If you would like to use Adichie as a source for this paper, you will only need 2 additional sources from our Unit 2 readings. Okay, so I've listed the sources that are available for this unit. Adichie is on this list, so essentially if you just choose 3, you're good to go. Choose 3 authors from this list. Okay. So, as it says here, you can focus your paper on a specific subculture if you'd like to, or what you can do is you can focus your paper on a specific stereotype. So for example, intelligence or economic standing or academic success, the job market. Your goal here is to find a creative way to connect 3 authors in the same paper. They might not seemingly be discussing the exact same thing, so your job is to pick out quotes and evidence that can really help you support your specific thesis. So, some questions to consider here. In what ways can stereotypes either harm or benefit minority populations? How can viewing a culture through an ethnocentric perspective be potentially dangerous or beneficial? And how does each author contribute to your argument about stereotypes and cultural expectations? So essentially you're going to be answering this highlighted question here. In what ways can stereotypes either harm or benefit minority populations? And you're going to come up with a thesis statement about that and use 3 authors as your evidence to support your claims. Okay. And again, you can focus on a specific culture as mentioned here, or on a specific stereotype or cultural expectation, and use the authors in conjunction with each other to help support your ideas. Now, a tip: if you are arguing that these expectations can be beneficial, feel free to use a counter-argument rebuttal structure for your paper, one that argues against each of your 3 chosen sources. So, naturally, all of our sources are going to argue that stereotypes are inherently bad, okay? So if you think otherwise, you can feel free to use the sources and argue against them in your paper. So you can come up with a counter-argument rebuttal structure, arguing why those sources are invalid, basically. And that's a perfectly legitimate way to go about this paper. So this paper needs to be 4 to 6 pages, MLA, creative title, concrete evidence from at least 3 sources, well-written thesis, organizing principle, intro body conclusion, fully developed analysis of how the evidence supports each topic sentence and overall thesis, proper style, effective structure, and you're addressing a scholarly audience. Okay, so that is the, meat and potatoes, that you could say, of this essay. And now I want to show you the outline. Okay, so this is kind of skeletal here. Do notice that the header and the title are already in MLA. So if you want to use this, you can just copy and paste this into your paper. Just make sure you add your last name and page number. So in the intro, you need to contextualize cultural expectations, stereotypes, ethnocentrism, anything that you will discuss in the body of your paper, and then you're going to have your thesis. Okay, and then this is the basic structure for any argument paper you'll ever write. So your topic sentences are all going to be reasons to support your thesis, and then you're going to have evidence, and then you're going to explain how the evidence supports your topic sentence and your thesis. And then, of course, you're probably going to need more than 3 body paragraphs. You would just copy and paste the structure here into more body paragraphs if you need them. The outline is not going to be collected in class, but I strongly recommend that you create an outline before your rough draft, just so that you can keep yourself organized. And you can kind of see, like, oh, body A is fully developed, but I really don't have enough for body B, so you might end up scrapping body B later on. It's a really good visual way to see what's working and what's not. And so let's go back to our modules here. Okay, so we just went over the prompt and the outline. Now, there's also, I have 4 different student samples here. Okay, so go ahead and read each of those 4 samples. They're all very different. They approach this assignment in very different ways. So go ahead and do that. So you can kind of get an idea of the different directions that you can go in, okay? And then next, I wanted to show you the rubric for this paper, okay? So it's out of 100 points. Your thesis is 15, organization 15, development 30, style and mechanics 5, grammar 15, MLA 5, and intro and conclusion is 15. So now, when I go to grade your paper, I will be clicking on different sections on the rubric, and it'll automatically total the points, okay? And then when you click on view longer description, for example, for the thesis, you can view what I'm kind of looking for. Okay, so for the thesis, it needs to be clearly laid out at the end of the intro. It needs to be clear, argumentative thesis that clearly and directly answers the prompt. It is not an announcement. So for example, it should not say, in this paper I will discuss stereotypes. Okay, that is not an argument. You need to have a clear, solid, opinionated statement. For organization, body paragraphs follow logically. Each paragraph has one specific focus. Each paragraph stays on topic and connects to the topic sentences and the thesis with good transitions. And then development, each paragraph is fully developed and thoroughly supports each topic sentence. The evidence used is thoroughly explained and analyzed. The student thoroughly supports his or her thesis and uses sophisticated analysis to articulate his or her thoughts. Style and mechanics, appropriate tone, no second person. This means know you, know your, know yourself. Okay? That is not addressing a scholarly audience. And smoothly integrate quotes. Okay? And then grammar, you can kind of read that there. MLA, and then the intro and conclusion. The intro clearly contextualizes the topic and includes enough background information for the audience. If necessary, the intro introduces any authors and texts that he or she may analyze later on. The intro smoothly leads into the thesis. The conclusion discusses the significance of the overall argument and does not simply summarize the body paragraphs. Okay, so that's the basic rubric for this paper. We'll go one more time back to the modules here. And you may have taken note when I was reading the rubric that you need to have smooth integration of quotes. So what I've included for in the 924 module here is an embedding quotations and more document. So when you click on it, it will open right here. And this means embedding quotes is the same thing as integrating quotes, okay? So you can scroll through this document here and you can see, for example, this quote is not embedded, it's not integrated, okay? The quote is standing alone as its own sentence, and this is never okay. You want to really work on integrating it. Notice here, it flows very, very smoothly into this sentence. And then you can kind of see more examples here. So make sure you go through this document, especially for integrating quotes, but this document also has a lot of other good stuff too, about how to cite and the work cited, and all of that, okay? So take a good look through that embedding quotations and more document. And then last, I want to kind of scroll through here and show you the rest of the documents in here. I've included the works cited for you, so all you have to do is copy and paste the sources that you've used and get rid of anything that you do not use. Then here is the Horace Minor reading, Body Ritual Among the Masarima, that will open. And then the Humans of New York. I do want to show you this. So this is one of our readings for this unit. It's about refugees, obviously, as you can see here. When you scroll down, there's a bunch of different stories about refugees here with accompanying images, okay? So for example, you can click on this here, read story, and you can scroll down and see the image again, and then you can read her story here. Now, I mention this because in your discussion board, which is the next page, it's going to ask you, okay, here's Humans of New York. It's going to say choose 2 stories that speak to you the most, or that were the most noteworthy, then respond to the following questions. Give a brief summary, why did it stand out to you, describe the image, and just talk about the single story in relation to these stories. So you're going to do this twice. You're going to find 2 stories on this site to respond to for the discussion board, okay? And then the first part of the discussion board is going to be responding to Horace Minor's text. So that is the first discussion board for this unit. And then the next discussion board is going to be on Raya and Takaki, which is right here. Okay, and so it's going to ask you, there's 3 questions for Raya and 5 for Takaki. Okay, and then you're going to respond to 2 peers. So, and this talks about identity and stereotypes. Anything that you use for the minor discussion board or the Takaki, Raya, Humans of New York discussion board, any material you can generate for those, you can use for your essay. So really keep that in mind as you are completing the discussion boards. Like, hey, you know, I really like what I wrote about Humans of New York. I'm going to use some of that material for my essay. Perfect. That's exactly what the discussion boards are for. Okay. All right, and then lastly, if I didn't already mention this, okay, there are 4 sample essays here. I really strongly recommend that you read the sample essays and kind of get a sense of the different directions that you can go in for your paper. But essentially, you are writing a paper about the benefit or danger of stereotypes, and you're going to center it around either a specific culture or a specific stereotype, and find kind of a creative way to integrate your 3 chosen sources as your evidence. But you're coming up with an argument about the nature of stereotypes. All right? And so that is essentially essay 2. So email me if you have any questions. And I almost forgot, I just wanted to say one more thing about the rough draft, okay? Keep in mind that the rough drafts are worth 50 points. So when you're ready to submit your rough draft, okay, there's going to be a button up here that says Submit Assignment, and you click that there. And then there's a Completing Peer Reviews on Canvas video that you should watch, okay? But basically you're going to submit your essay just like you did for essay 1. And by the way, all 3 rough drafts are going to be exactly the same, okay? You're going to submit your essay, and then you're going to copy and paste all of these questions into a Word document or a Google Doc, and then you're going to open your peers' drafts, and respond to these questions while you read their drafts. And then you copy or you attach a file, okay, as it says here. Once you've answered all the questions, attach your responses by clicking Attach File under the comment box on your peer's paper screen. Be sure to attach a document, docx, or PDF. Okay, so you have to convert your Google Docs. So wherever you answer these questions, you're going to attach that as a file on the screen for your peer's paper. And please do, again, watch this Completing Peer Reviews on Canvas video. This will tell you exactly how to do what I'm telling you. Okay, so that will really crystallize all the instructions here. And then there's also going to be a rubric on their paper. So you click Show Rubric, you fill out the rubric according to what you think the paper should earn, and then Save Comment. And once you've attached the rubric and the file including your responses to all these questions, you hit Save. Okay? So again, please watch this Completing Peer Reviews on Canvas for further instruction, but hopefully that can clarify any issues that went on for, say, one peer review. And email me if you have any questions.